Hey, Miss Reed, this is chapter 77 of Life of Pi. Okay, let's get started. The cartons of survival rations diminished. I reduced my intake till I was following instructions, exactly holding myself onto 2 biscuits every 8 hours. I was continuously hungry. I thought about food obsessively. The less I had to eat, the larger became the portions I dreamed of. My fantasy meals grew to be the size of India. A gangish of dawn soup, hot chaptis the size of Rajasthan, bowls of rice, a bicker of Uttar Pradesh, sambars, the flood of Tamil Nadu ice cream helped the high of Himalayas. My dreaming became quite expert. At just right temperature, my portions of things was always bang on. Nothing was ever burnt or undercooked, nothing too hot, nothing too cold. Every meal was perfect, only just beyond the reach of our hands. By the degrees, the range of my appetite increased, whereas the first I gutted fish, peeled their skin fastidiously. Soon I no more than rinsed off the slimy slipperiness before biting into them. Delighted to have such a treat between my teeth, I recall flying fish as being quite tasty, their flesh rosy white tender. Dorado had a firmer texture and a stronger taste. I began to pick a fish heads rather than toss them Richard Parker or use them as bait. It was a great discovery when I found out the fresh-tasting fluid could be sucked out not only from the eyes of a larger fish but from the vertebrae. Turtles, which previously I had roughly opened up with the knife, tossed onto the floor of the boat of Richard Parker. The bowl of the hot soup became my favorite dish. It seemed impossible to imagine that there was a time when I looked upon a live sea turtle as a 10-course meal of a great delicacy and blessed respite from fish. Yet so it was. In the veins of the turtle's course, a sweet lassie had to be drunk as soon as it spurted from their necks. Because of the coagulated in less than a minute, the best priorals, the codus in the land could not revival the flesh. Either cured brown, fresh, deep red, cardamom, Pamish, I have tasted a sweet or rich or creamy turtle eggs, cured turtle fat, chopped with a mixture of heat, lungs, liver, flesh, cleaned out, intestines, sprinkled with fish parts, the whole soaked in yolk and serum. Gravy made an unsurpassable finger-licking tally. By the end of my journey, it was eating small crabs and barnacles. Whatever I found from the turtle's stomach became my turn to eat. I whiled away many pleasant hours gnawing and flipper joints, splinting open bones and slicking up their marrow, and my fingers were forever picking away bits of dry fat and flesh that clung to their inner sides and sides of the shell, rummaging for food in the atomic ways of monkeys. Turtle shells were very handy. I couldn't have done it without them. They served not only as shields, but as cutting boards for fish, as bowls for mixing food, and as the elements had destroyed blankets beyond repair, and I used the shells to protect myself from the sun, propping them against each other and laying beneath them. It was frightening to extend to which full belly made for a good mood. It would have followed the measure for measure, so food and water was much good mood. It was such a terribly fickle existence. I was the mercy of turtle meat for smiles. By the time the last of the biscuits disappeared, anything was good to eat, no matter their taste. I could put anything in my mouth, chew it, swallow it, delicious, foul, or plain. So long as it was salty, my mood developed a revolution for salty, and it's still experienced to this day. I tried to eat Richard Parker's feces. What the heck? It happened early on but my system hadn't learned yet to live with hunger. Or imagination was still widely searching for solutions. I had delivered fresh solar still water to his bucket not long before. After draining it one, he had disappeared below the tarp, and I returned to attending some small matters in the locker. As I did in those early days, I glanced below the tarp every so often to make sure he wasn't up to something. Well, this one time, he was crouched and his back rounded and his rear legs was spread. His tail was raised, pushing up against the tarp. The position was telltale. Right away, I had food in mind, not the animal hygiene. I decided there was little danger. He turned the other way and his head was out of sight. If I respected his peace and quiet, he might have noticed me. I grabbed the bailing cup, stretched my arms forward. The cup arrived in the nick of time. At the second I was positioned the base of his tail, Richard Anus distended, and out of it, like a bubblegum balloon, came a black sphere excrement. It fell into my cup with a clink, and no doubt I will be considered to have abandoned my vestige humanness by those who would not understand the degree of my suffering. That I sounded to my ears. The magic 5 rupee coin dropped into the beggar's cup. A smile cracked my lips, made the bleed. I felt the gratitude towards Richard. I pulled back the cup. I took the turd in my fingers. It was very warm. The smell was not strong in size, but it was a big ball of gulp, and none the softness. In fact, it was as hard as a rock. I'm sorry. Oh my god, ew. Loaded musket with it and shot a rhino. Miss Reed, I'm so sorry if you just saw that. But this is disgusting. Oh my god. It was a truly waste of matter and the nutrients in it had. I spat it out, and it was bitter and lost preciousness water. I took a gaff and went out collecting the rest of Richard's feces. They went straight up to the fish. After a few weeks, the body became deteriorated. My feet, ankles started to swell and very trying to sit.